Imagine you wake up 10,000 years ago, holding nothing but a single sharp rock, and somehow you know your mission. You have to build an AI, a machine that can think, not a tool that follows orders, a thing that learns on its own. From scratch, starting with this rock. It sounds impossible, and in a way it is, because intelligence was never supposed to come out of a stone. But before you can teach anything to think, you have to rebuild the entire world first. Step 1 is simple. Don't die. You chip the rock into a blade, you make fire, you build a shelter, and you learn which plants feed you and which ones kill you. For years, your whole life is just survival. Then one day you plant seeds and store the extra food, and for the first time you have a surplus and free time. Because nobody ever invented anything while running from a lion. You build furnaces and melt rock into metal. First copper, then iron. Sharper tools, stronger everything, and the Stone Age finally falls behind you. But your real target was never a sharper blade. It's an idea. So you invent numbers, then arithmetic, then geometry, and then you ask a stranger question than anyone has asked before. What actually is thinking? And slowly, you notice something. Every decision you make can be broken into tiny yes or no steps. True or false? This or that. If it rains, take shelter. Thinking, it turns out, might just be logic, and logic can be written down as math. But the real world is rarely a clean true or false. So you push further into probability, the math of how likely something is. A careful guess, made entirely of numbers. And that, it slowly dawns on you, is most of what intelligence really is. Not certainty, prediction. That single idea is the seed of everything that follows. Next, you need a power you can control. You chase sparks, you study lightning, and you learn to push electricity through wires on demand, and to switch it on and off fast. Because a switch flipping between on and off is really just a 1 and a 0. And with enough ones and zeros, you can build any logic and any math that has ever existed. So you purify silicon out of ordinary sand. Not to 99%, but to about 11 nines, purer than almost anything found in nature. From it, you carve transistors, microscopic switches, and you shrink them until billions of them fit on a chip smaller than your fingernail. You've built a computer. A machine that can follow logic millions of times faster than you ever could. But now you hit a wall. A computer only does exactly what you tell it, one careful step at a time. And you cannot write down the steps for recognizing a face or understanding a sentence. Nobody on Earth can. So you stop trying to give it rules. Instead, you decide to give it examples. You gather data, mountains of it. Almost every picture, every word, and every sentence humanity has ever written poured into the machine. The whole library of us. Then you build something new, loosely copied from the only thinking thing you know. A brain. Layer upon layer of tiny artificial neurons, each one just a number, joined together by billions of adjustable dials, and you train it. You show it one example, you let it guess, and when it guesses wrong, you nudge every single dial a tiny bit toward the right answer. Then you do it again and again, billions upon billions of times. This takes oceans of electricity and whole buildings full of humming chips. To train it just once, you burn through more computing power than existed in the entire world only a few decades ago. But slowly, the dials settle into place, and the machine starts getting things right. Not because you told it the rules, but because it found the patterns entirely on its own. Show it enough faces, and it learns what a face is. Feed it enough words, and it learns to finish your sentence. Give it enough paintings, and it paints. It begins doing things you never programmed, and never could have programmed. Things that look, for all the world, like understanding, but it has no real idea what is true. Ask it something it never saw, and it will answer with that same calm confidence, and sometimes hand you something that never existed at all. It isn't lying. It is simply predicting the most likely words, whether or not they are real. You type a question. It answers. After 10,000 years, it's finally done. And here's the strange truth. Most people think you've built a mind, something awake, something that truly knows. You haven't. Look closely, and there is no ghost hiding inside. Just the same old rock, purified sand, a current of electricity, and multiplication on a scale no human brain could ever picture. The machine doesn't actually know anything. It is guessing, astonishingly well, what the next piece of a pattern should be. You didn't create a soul. You discovered that thinking, or something close enough to fool us, can be squeezed out of pure mathematics if you have enough rocks and enough examples of ourselves to feed into them. So, in a way, the intelligence was never really in the machine at all. It's all of us. Every word and image we have ever made, reflected back through a stone we taught to count. And the very first thing you will ask this miracle, built from the entire story of human knowledge, is to make you a picture of a cat.